Okay. Do you think you're ready? I think I'm ready. All right. Seashells, seashells on the seashore. Red, yellow, lolly, 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 lolly. Nope, can't do that one. All right.
That's not working.
That one doesn't work. I can't do that one. Okie doke. So, Keri, welcome to Rad-ventures, the podcast that takes you on exhilarating journeys through the lives of entrepreneurs and business leaders. I believe you are an entrepreneur and business leader. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Richard. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Where do you want me to start? Where do I start? So I am a mum, wife, two children, two stepchildren who I class as my own, dogs, cats, long, lengthy, interesting career of different jobs, which started off in a bank, would you believe? So roll on 35 years-ish. I haven't done the maths on that. And here I am now doing something completely different, teaching soap making and all sorts of other stuff.
It can't be 35 years. You don't look a day over 21.
Thank you.
Cool. So, all right, tell us a bit about the soap coach then.
Oh, okay. So Soap Coach is all about teaching people how to make soap and skincare products. And I also teach people all about businesses, how to start businesses, how to grow their soap and skincare businesses. It's got a really overarching wide umbrella, to be honest, which has had to be the case because of COVID and everything else that's gone on.
Oh, nice. So I know a tiny little bit about soap and the production of soap. And as I understand it, it's fairly regulated because of the chemicals and things you use.
For selling it, yes. It's classed as a cosmetic. So lots of hoops we have to jump through if we want to sell it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like not lime and stuff, but there are chemicals that you put in there that could potentially be dangerous if you'd not done it correctly, aren't there?
There is. So it's made with sodium hydroxide, which is also known as caustic soda, also known as lye. I always say in my workshops, it's also the stuff that they use to dissolve bodies with in the movies.
That was what I was thinking. It was like I said lime, but I was actually thinking lye. And
Lye,
yeah, that's if you want to get rid of a body, that's the stuff you use, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, it does get rid of them quite well, but I think there's little fragments of bones that it can't do. But
probably. I always do say you would probably have to use a lot and chop it up into bits. And yeah, it's not ideal. It's probably not a good subject.
No, that's not the best. But yeah, I don't know anything about it, officer, or Your Honor. I haven't no experience. No, I've watched a lot of films, and that's what they do, isn't it? In the TV shows. What is it? All those type of TV shows on bodies.
Was it Breaking Bad as well? Was it Breaking Bad?
Oh yeah, I think they did it in Breaking Bad, and we watched all of them. Elementary, that was like the modern day Sherlock Holmes, and they used a bit in that, and all sorts of other shows like that. Detective shows. We don't really like them because we can guess what's going to happen because we watch so many of them. But there you go. All right. So when you were at school then, and you saw the career advisor, not too long ago, obviously, but did you tell them I want to be a soap coach?
No. I wanted to be a vet when I was at school. So I even did my work experience at the vets, but it was just too emotionally draining for me. I'm too much of a wuss, and there's no way I could be a vet. Plus, I'm not clever enough. So that kind of put the end to that, really.
I also had aspirations of being a vet way back when, to the point where when I did my Duke of Edinburgh Bronze Award, I did my work experience element at the vets.
Yeah.
And it's just a strange place to be in, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you've got to be a particular kind of person, and I'm not that kind of person. I'm way too soft.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I decided that I wasn't very good at biology, so that's why I didn't kind of head in that direction, really.
That's probably a factor for me as well.
Yeah. So biology. Biology. What am I talking about? I've lost my train of thought. Then I was thinking vets. So you wanted to be a vet, and then you decided you weren't going to be a vet. So where did you go from there then?
So I went to college for 2 years, and then I fell into a job at Lloyds Bank just because my friends were, and I could start in the August, and it paid money.
Oh, nice.
It wasn't
Is
really.
that local? Was it Weymouth or Dorchester or?
Yeah, Lloyd's in Weymouth and a bit on Portland
Ah,
as well.
Lloyd's in Weymouth. 309956 is the sort code.
It is indeed.
I know. Yeah, I put people's details into a CRM for one of my clients, and
Yeah,
also my partner has her banking at Lloyd's in Weymouth. So you start to recognise all the sort codes.
yeah.
I could probably tell you NatWest in Weymouth as well, apart from not off the top of my head now. Oh,
60,
60.
23, 35.
That's the one. Yeah, I see you share the mystical magical powers of numbers too.
Well, clearly, yeah.
All right, so you ended up at Lloyd's Bank. Um, and I would think that banking was quite a good career.
It was okay at the time. It was in the late 90s, so everything was going well. But then very quickly, it turned into selling insurance with everything. And that was
Uh,
not for me at all. So, yeah, I didn't enjoy that.
no. Yeah, there was always insurance on accounts, wasn't there? And there's always
Loans. Yeah.
yeah, what was it like? Oh, what do they call it? There was you have insurance for a loan, and if something happens, then you can't. Oh, there's a
They
special word, something about
pay
back.
your repayments for you, wouldn't they, if something happened to you?
Yeah,
But they were
yeah,
all missold, it turns out, so they've all refunded them
yeah.
since.
I think I remember in 2014, I had a loan with my bank, and all of a sudden I got like hundreds and hundreds of pounds delivered back into my bank account,
Nice.
and an email saying, please check your messages in the app. And I checked the app, and it was like, oh yeah, but it turns out we missold this insurance that you didn't actually need. It's basically the same premise as the PPI thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Where you missold it, and we not told all the details. And yeah, that was a good week. That was plenty of money in my bank account.
I bet.
All right, so you left banking. What did you do then?
So I was actually at the bank for 10 years. It took me 6 years to find a job that I wanted to do. And I kind of fell into policing by accident, really, just because the opportunity came up and I thought I'd go for it. I didn't expect to get in, but I did. I was quite shocked. So joined the police in 1998.
I'm going to tell you a fun story now, and you're probably going to not believe this, but I also had aspirations of being in the police.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I did my exam year in 2002, and I went to sixth form. This is up north; it's not local. But I went to sixth form, and I got easily distracted in sixth form, and I should have done different subjects than I did, and then ultimately, to cut the long story short, is on results day, which we just had results day for all the A level students. I was like the last one to go in, and they were like, "You've got two E's and three U's, so you can't come back." And I was like,
Oh,
and they're like, "You can't even repeat the year. I'm sorry, goodbye." I was like, "Oh." So it's like, what do I do? And then at the time, like Manchester Met had a massive drive on,
yeah.
but I was 17, so it was like I couldn't have gone in until a few months down the line.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to college instead and did public services.
Yep.
And then we did 2 years of that. And there was an ex Manchester Met detective who was one of our tutors. Nick Pinder, his name was. And I think he actually helped catch the Yorkshire Ripper back in the day.
Oh, wow.
He said it was all to do with a £5 note. And the secretary for the company that Peter Sutcliffe worked for, that it was her handwriting on the note.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Um, All it's a long time ago. This 22 years ago now. No, sorry, 20 years ago. When he told me and when the story. So you get all a bit muddled, don't you? But something like that. Anyway, so 2 weeks before we finish our 2 year course, Nick turns around and says, "I know a lot you want to go in the police, but don't bother applying." And we're like, right. And he's like, "You need some life experience." And so I was like, all right. So at the time, like celebrity chefs were all the rage. So I went and did a bit of cooking for a while, and like you at the bank, I got stuck,
Yeah.
and it took a while to get out of that. But yeah, policing, I wanted to do it, and then I just eventually stopped applying or stopped getting the forms. And then I thought, do I really want to do that? A lot of paperwork, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah, a lot of
I mean,
paperwork.
don't get me wrong, that sounds really bad because my job now is paperwork. But it's a lot of red tape, and ultimately, I want to be kicking doors down and arresting people, and
And you do get to
that
do that as well, but you have to do all the paperwork afterwards.
yeah, and it's like first you've got to make sure that you're allowed to kick the door down, and
Yeah,
then you've got to make sure that you fill in a report after you've kicked the door down, and then you've got to put in a claim for the door,
yeah.
all that jazz. So it was a bit like, oh, really? So anyway, that went by the wayside, and probably a good job as well. But so how many years were you in the police?
I did 24 in the end. 24, yeah. So, yeah, most of my working life, if I'm honest.
That's a long time. I didn't expect you to say 24 years, to be honest. When
Yeah,
you said about it, and I thought you can't have been in the police that long. If you
yeah,
did 10 years at the bank,
yeah.
yeah, crazy.
I
Well,
know.
hats
That's
off
my
to you.
35 years I was talking about.
Yeah, huge kudos to you for a long career in the police there.
Thank you.
I know it's not the easiest of jobs. So yes, well done. So after the police, then did you leave the police for any particular reason, or was it you had enough, or is it?
This is where it gets a bit more convoluted. So, had my kids in the 2000s, um, went to work in the control room for a bit whilst I was having them and they were young. And then I went back and did some other stuff. And then I just thought I really need to be at home a bit more. And I'd been on a 1 day training course to learn how to groom and clip my spaniels at the time. Really, really enjoyed it. So ended up training in like going back in the evenings and retraining as a professional dog groomer. Do you want the whole story from there to how I ended up where I am now?
Yeah, yeah. Fill us in. So sounds like the
Okay.
right Rad-venture.
It is a adventure, definitely. So trained as a dog groomer, managed to drop my hours down at work. So I had a couple of extra days at home because we had 4 kids at home and 2 dogs. It was a lot of work. Um, Set up a little dog grooming business from home, 2 days a week. That went really, really well. Started thinking, oh, I don't like all these plastic bottles and chemicals and all this kind of thing that we're using. And a lot of dog groomers have problems with their hands and their skin. And then I started another business called The Dog and I, which is all about dog soaps, nose balm, paw balm, all that kind of thing. Then, and this is not planned. I actually don't. I honestly do not know how this has all happened and how I am where I am now. But then I started teaching people how to make soap, but people thought I could only teach dog soap, which isn't the case because it's just the recipe, not the process. And I was at the time renting just a studio for those few hours. Then I hurt my back lugging everything up and down the stairs. I thought this isn't working. So I thought I'm going to have to rent somewhere. So I ended up starting the soap coach so that everyone knew I could teach whatever. Then I rented a workshop in Poundbury, which was a massive leap of faith, as you can imagine. And then the soap coach has kind of taken over and the dog grooming stopped. I left the police in 2021 and here we are. That's a short
That
story.
that is a very long, short story, and it's so much compacted into a little bit there. That's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, crazy. And so you go from kicking people's doors in to making soap and washing dogs and grooming them.
Yeah,
That's
pretty much.
I love it. And but
Pretty
it's
much.
like the dog grooming thing. Um, I don't know how you do that. We've got a poodle, and well, it's a toy poodle, so obviously he's tiny, not like a
Yeah.
proper size one. And I do his face for him. So I watch loads of YouTube videos, and we've got the proper clippers to make sure we don't burn his face and everything like that. But I don't know how you do, the legs and everything, and in between his feet and all that. That would drive me nuts because there's a technique to it though, isn't there? I suppose.
Yeah, there is. It's fiddly, and having the right equipment helps. So to do in between their feet, you'd have much smaller clippers, and the scissors we use are sharper, which does make life a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean he's grumpy and cantankerous now, so anytime you just have to touch him once, and he's like, "Yeah, get off."
Yeah.
But yes, oh no, Sorry, I was really dry mouth. That's probably talking on a podcast. Um, yeah, no, it's a great story. And so for dog grooming, so the dog soaps then, I presume you wanted to make them because you wanted something more natural.
Exactly that, and
Um,
plastic free as well. Yeah. And then that all led on to some other products. And yeah, so the dog and I is still going as well, although not to the same degree because I haven't got the time. There's not enough
is
hours
the
in the day.
That's the dog soap company then?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. But you've not doing the grooming anymore.
No, I stopped the grooming because of the product side, and also I had an old grumpy spaniel at the time who it was getting really tricky because he was quite difficult with other dogs. So
Ah, right.
it kind of came to a natural end. So the dog grooming stopped. The dog and I got bigger, and sort of took over financially, really. So that it worked out
Yeah,
really well.
I love it. It's like it's almost like that's how it was meant to go.
No, well,
Um,
do you know what I was thinking before I came on here today? I was thinking of everything that I've done, and I've got to be honest. And I don't think I've actually said this before, but I think there's an element of I get bored really easily. So I just get bored of doing something, and then I move on to something else. I mean, that's going to
hmm.
have to stop at some point. I can't keep starting new businesses. So yeah, I think
Well,
that's
you can, but obviously then you have to kind of you have to work out what you're going to do with the old one. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I like it. But I think it's those lessons that you've learned over your years in the bank and then over years at the police, and then that kind of gave you those the skills that you had. So
yeah.
then, obviously, you didn't get the dog grooming skills. You got that from the course you did.
No, I had to learn
Um,
that.
yeah, but I mean, the rest of it, it's kind of almost like the building blocks, which is like I like to compare it to when people say to me uh, about business and things. I say, everyone goes at their own pace, and I like to think of it as like you're playing a game of Pokemon
Yeah,
on the old Game Boy, and
yeah,
you've got to go into a certain level. You need like either a certain type of Pokemon, like a grass type Pokemon, or you need a certain level Pokemon. Otherwise, you can't play that bit of the level. And
yeah,
so we all find our way eventually.
yeah.
But it sounds like you're like rocking it. You're like I'm going to do that, and off I go.
Yeah,
And
I'm an Aries, that's why.
I love the little transitions that you kind of gone from, like dog groomer, soap, human soap, teaching to make human soap. It's fantastic. Cool. So that's where you are now. Is you're at soap coaching, and the dog and I is still going.
Yes, yes, for
I
the
like it.
moment.
Ah, is that a Rad-ventures? You heard it here first.
No,
It
not really. The bottom line is, I mean, I'm not getting any younger. I'd like to start slowing down a bit and not doing 50-hour weeks. So at some point, something's got to give, and it won't be the teaching because I've just spent a lot of money doing a business strategist course. So that's going to be the way I'm going.
oh
Um,
nice.
yeah, so at some point, the dog and I will have to go, and the teaching will be my only job. And hopefully, I'll get some time off. That'd be really good.
Yeah, that is the aspiration. Time off.
Yeah,
It's all about. It's not. They used to say work-life balance, didn't they? But now I think in the world of entrepreneurship, it's more of a
flexibility, I think.
yes, that is a better way to put. I couldn't think
Yeah,
of the correct word in that we like doing what we do because that's why we went into business for ourselves, amongst other reasons. And obviously, we like the freedom that that provides us. But the at the same time, you want it's the money, but you also want the time.
yeah,
And obviously, the majority of the time, we're selling our time.
yeah,
So yeah, there's a nice. I don't want to say balance because that would be the old work life balance, but there's a happy medium in there somewhere, isn't there?
yeah. But I'm working towards that perfect balance. I think that's my
Yeah.
5-year plan. You've got to have a 5-year plan, haven't you?
Yes, you've got to have a 5 year plan. As I said in the last episode, mine is hold on and hold fast.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's like hopefully I'm joking because otherwise I could be not. Anyway, moving on then. Um, I had something on my mind then that I was going to say, and I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, so no, it was tell us a bit more about the soap coach. So, is it a one-to-one thing? Is it a classes thing? Is it
It's
rock
all
up at
of
the
those.
studio?
So I've got the workshop at Dorchester, which is where I teach my in-person classes. So I teach soap making and all other products as well, and those are just small group classes. Then, and this is, I've got COVID to thank for this really. I had to go online because I moved in here in January 2020, and we all know what happened in March 2020. So hands-on classes just stopped. So I started online, hence yeah, it helped me out. It really did. So I've now got 2 memberships. One's for hobbyists, where I just drop a video tutorial or an ebook in every month, and they get a recipe and things like that. And then I've got a business membership where I help and support soap and skincare businesses in the UK grow their businesses. And
Oh,
I've also
nice.
got online courses as well. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
a whole raft of stuff now, which is great.
that sounds really good. It sounds quite extensive as well. You can say no to this one, but what platform do you use for your online coaching?
Thinkific,
Ah,
which
okay.
yeah, it's okay. It's I've looked at a lot, and I'd say they've all got pluses and minuses. So think if it is quite expensive, but it's part of the costs, isn't it?
Yeah, I half expected you to say, am I thinking Kajabi?
Oh yeah, Kajabi's one of them, isn't it?
That's really expensive, isn't it? I think that's about
Yeah,
£150 a month.
yeah. Mine works out
Uh,
about £90 a month, something
yeah,
like that.
there's so
So
many out there, and then you find one you like. With me, mine's CRMs for judging my for doing my daily work, and planning, project planning, etc. And timekeeping.
yeah.
And you find one you like, and you use it for a little bit, and then there's mutterings on the internet, and then it says, "Oh, have you seen this new one?" And you're like, "Oh, I better go and have a look." I start with the free trial, and then you do it, you fill it all in, and you're, "Oh, actually, yeah, I really like this." And then you get down to it, and then someone starts with a, "Oh, there's another one." Yeah. Oh, so I've been through them all now. I've been started on Trello. I've been to Asana. I've been through Toggle Track. I'm now on with Moxie. And if you wanted, with Moxie, you can now get a 30-day free. I'm joking.
Oh,
Um, that was my
I've been
affiliate link. I might put it at the end.
tech is my
Um,
nemesis, so I avoid changing if I can.
oh, really? I quite like it. Mix it up a little bit. Right, okay, cool. So, quite the adventure so far then, and I think we'll come back to something on that a bit later on. But in the interim, let's do our quickfire questions. This is designed to break the show up a little bit, make it a bit more personable, getting to know Keri a bit more, and also it's a way to kind of integrate it into the admin side of thing, which is obviously my jam. So, uh, also, they're not that quick, but we'll see how we go. Cool. All right. So we know that you're 21.
Of course.
What's been your favorite age so far?
Oh God. Well, I wish I'd asked for these beforehand now. I'd have to say my 30s because that's when I met my husband and had my kids. That's when
Nice.
life settled down a little bit.
Yeah, someone I was talking to the other day said their favorite age was 32, and then we had to have the whole conversation. Was that like the rock star age? But I think the rock star age is 31, and I must admit I still haven't looked it up. That was the
I've got
old
no
Kurt
idea.
Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, Amy Winehouse, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, cool. 30s is a good answer. I too am in my 30s. Late,
It's just, I think,
late, very
late 30s.
late.
That's better than being in your 50s, believe me.
You're not in your 50s.
I am in my
No,
50s.
you're not. Right. Question two. What's your favorite quote? It could be a movie, a meme, or a motivational quote, or any other quote you can think of.
I've got to use the one I give all my students because it would be wrong not to, which is laser focused. Everything is laser focused. And that's, I think, that's good advice for anybody. Be laser focused in what you're doing.
I like it. It's good. All right. So, Google Suite or Microsoft 365?
Google Suite.
Oh, really? Well, I never. Yeah, I like both, and I use both. I do. tend to like Microsoft 365 a little bit more. But that's because in the 90s, that's what we used at school, and that's what's familiar. I do think I like it and I don't. It's ultimately a copy, but I don't like the whole web-based thing, and I don't like the
Oh,
Google Mail. The Google Mail thing puts me off.
I've never really, well, we used Microsoft at work, but I don't do spreadsheets. I hate spreadsheets. I can't do spreadsheets. So for me, it was free as well to begin with, which is always a
Yeah, yeah,
bonus.
that
Always,
is a
yeah.
big draw. Yeah, cool. Google Suite. There you go. All right. So this one is a hypothetical one, and we won't get too deep into it like we have done in previous episodes. But if you were stranded on a desert island, what app could you not live without?
What app?
Yeah.
Oh God.
It could be productive, it could be entertainment. It's entirely your choice.
It would have to be WhatsApp, so I can talk to people still.
Yeah, well, the problem with the hypothetical situation is we don't know if you've got signal. We don't know how long your battery's going to last. No way of
Well, in that
charging your
case,
phone.
it's irrelevant then, isn't it?
It is irrelevant, but at least we know what your favorite app is now.
Well, I wouldn't say it's my favourite. I'd say it's the most useful.
Most useful. I like it. WhatsApp, I'm a bit funny on. Obviously everyone uses it, but I'm a bit like I don't. It kind of makes the messenger app obsolete. We're sending old text messages or iMessages or whatever it is you've got, and then I think, well, no, that's what that was designed for, so we should use that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I get stuck in different conversations on the different apps. So I'll be texting someone, but then I'll be WhatsApping them in a separate conversation. Um, yeah, WhatsApp, very handy. Okay, doke. So number 5 is how many unread emails do you have on your phone right now? Name and shame time.
A lot, way too many. And this is the trouble because I've got like 4 or 5 different email addresses.
Hmm.
It's a mess.
What I find talking to people on the show is that their personal emails, you've got all the junk emails that come through from people, Northern Runner, do you want to buy these trainers? And Amazon, this is on offer, and you've got to add milk to your shopping list. All that type of email you never bother reading, or you see the quick, briefly, you go, oh yeah, and then you don't delete it. But then for the business emails, they're all like up to date, all read, all actioned.
Um, yeah, the soap coach, very tidy. I have to keep on top of that because I get so many emails. The dog and I, a bit of a mess because I don't spend as much time on it. But I'm really good with the unsubscribe button.
Ah, yes, that is it's a good, interesting thing, and I won't go into that now. But yeah, sometimes you unsubscribe for something and you still get those emails.
I know.
Interesting.
Mm,
They tend to be from other countries, though. I've got one that I've unsubscribed from about 4 times from a lady in Australia, and yet they still come through.
annoying.
Yes, yes, they are. All right. So question 6 and our final quick fire question. We've got through these quite quick. Are you a bit of a petrol head?
In my younger days,
All right.
yeah,
We'll ask this question. We won't change it.
yeah.
So, if you didn't have to worry about any costs at all, what car would you have?
Oh, if I didn't have to worry. See, this is where I'm a bit old school. I used to have a Land Rover Defender 90 up until a couple of years ago that I loved, and I had to sell it because I wasn't really using it. So I'd like to
What
have my.
reg?
It,
What year was
it,
it?
it was 2004,
Oh,
so
nice. So
yeah,
relatively new one then.
it was a
Uh,
relatively new one.
yeah, they are expensive.
They are expensive,
Even the
yeah.
old ones are really expensive. Matt King was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and his car of choice was an old Defender 90.
Yeah.
He said classic Land Rover, but then he said 70s and 80s. So I can't remember what year the Defender 90 came in, but I think the Series 3s ended in the 70s.
They're old.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, really old. But yeah, they are handy, aren't they? And in a couple of episodes' time, my dad is going to be on the show, um, and his passion is Land Rovers.
Oh, really?
Uh, yeah, he's liked them since he was 4, and he's
Oh,
in his early 60s,
yeah.
and it's been his thing all the way through.
Oh,
I had a discovery back when our daughter was born, and but I foolishly went for the V8 petrol,
oh,
and
painful.
it it had a gas conversion which obviously wrecked the 1950s technology of the engine, and it was a big mess. So we don't talk about that anymore, though it did sound nice when it revved. Cool. So quickfire questions done. Land Rover Defender for the win. Oh, you're right. Yeah. So I lost my train of thought there because that's not written on my cheat sheet. Because this is fairly new, though we've done it for the last 4 episodes. So I was looking through the paper the other day, and I think it was the Guardian or the Independent because it was a free article. It wasn't the Times of the Telegraph, and it wasn't an actual newspaper. It was online, just for clarity there. But I stumbled across, and I must tag them in one of these videos, CV Library's most popular jobs of 2024. So I thought it'd be quite, but given that this is all about, careers, jobs, and Rad-ventures, I thought it'd be quite interesting if we just did a quick run through the top 10, quick yes or no. Does Keri fancy doing any of these jobs?
Go on.
All right. So we'll go from number 10 then. Inventory operator,
No,
manual line operator,
no,
food and beverage team member,
no.
packaging operator,
Kitchen operator.
packaging operator,
No,
um, head of social sustainability.
no, that sounds way too heavy.
Customer contact advisor.
No. Are these actually
CC.
most popular?
Sorry, these
Are
are
these...
like the most popular jobs. Apparently, the younger generation are quiet quitting, and they just want a job that they can do, and they can do it, go home, and not worry about it. Where the rest of us, panic and want to climb the ladder, and that's probably an overgeneralization. I'm sure the younger generation are doing just fine.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Um, CCTV controller.
Oh God, no! That's the CCTV is the most boring thing ever.
I'm sure there are some entertaining bits.
Yeah, but they would probably most likely be in the middle of the night.
Yeah, we had on my previous job before I was self-employed. We had CCTV,
Mm.
and I was one of the controllers for it. We had some fantastic videos. One was a guy inflating a tire with an airline, and the tire blew up.
Oh God,
He
yeah.
he 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 was fine, but he was trying to make it tubeless, so it had this like green goo in it, and the
Yeah.
green glue just goo splashed everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Um, we had another one where a new hire dropped a motorbike on his first day. We had one where a guy rocked up in the morning after taking one of the bikes home, and as he gets off it, he'd not put the side stand down properly, and it looked like a sniper had shot him from over the other side of the room. He just fell, and then the bike fell on top of him. I might add that all the people were fine in these
Oh, good.
videos, but quite entertaining on a Saturday afternoon when you've done all your work. All right, back to this. Number 3 is a TikTok presenter.
No, that's definitely
Uh,
not me.
Number 2, and my favourite, a theme park historic character.
No, I feel like there's something wrong with me because I don't want to do any of these.
Perhaps number 1's for you. A data management officer.
No.
None of those. Well, maybe yours is like number 11 for the most popular job.
Maybe. Or maybe this is why I'm working for myself now.
Perhaps. However, so that was the top 10, obviously, and it's a no from Keri for all of them.
It
But
is.
on what day is it today? Today's Tuesday. Sunday, I was looking through the old social media and I spotted this on Sky News. This might be for you. Are you an aspiring gondolier? Do you want to be a gondola pilot in Venice?
If it involves travelling, yes, I love travel.
So apparently you have to do a couple of courses at your own expense, and I think they're at least £400 each. You must be over 18. But other than that, then you could potentially be a gondola pilot
Um,
going
I,
around the. Places of Venice, all the waterways of Venice. That's it.
Yeah, that sounds far more appealing than all the others that you've reeled off.
I think so, but I wonder if they get like hot. And do you have to wear that funny? Do you have to wear that hat?
Probably. It's probably part of the uniform, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. Well, I don't know. This picture, does this picture show that the guy's not got a hat on in the uniform? Maybe they don't have to wear a hat anymore.
Maybe he's his own gondola and he doesn't work for other people.
I
So he
wonder
can
how
do what
that
he wants.
works.
I
I wonder
bet
if
they're
it's
like
like it.
taxis.
Is it like a taxi firm, or is it like they're council owned?
I don't know. Maybe you
No,
should Google it.
I'm gonna Google the gondolas. Google the gondolas. Oh no, I've lost my page. Right.
I, I reckon
All
they
right.
are. Yeah, I expect they all own their own gondola. I
I
think.
bet they. I would think that they're all self-employed, but they hire a gondola.
Maybe. Yeah.
At least they don't have to like have petrol on their expenses or anything, do they?
No, and it's very sustainable as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Um, yeah. COVID did quite good for Venice, didn't it? It cleaned all the waterways up, and dolphins was actually came back, didn't they? I don't know what it's like now that the world's gone well semi back to normal. But we won't go into that. We're a happy place here on the Rad-ventures podcast. All right then. So that's quickfire questions done, and we've had a talk about the jobs that you might like to do. But what if you could do absolutely anything, didn't have to worry about forking out for the training, had all the time in the world? What would you do if and when you grow up?
Oh, what would I do if I could do anything? I would
Anything.
like to. I would like to see if I could start all over again and go back to being 20 odd and had more time. I would love to be a travel blogger and just
Oh,
travel and blog my way around the world. That'd be great.
and have you thought about the equipment you might use for this? Would you have a DSLR camera and a vlogging camera? Would you use a GoPro, or do you think you go for like a Sony vlogging camera?
I've got no idea because I don't. I haven't. I'm not very techy. Whatever's easy and small to carry, GoPro would be good.
You probably want a GoPro, wouldn't you? Because
Yeah.
if you're gonna live out your backpack, you wouldn't want to carry too much.
Oh, I won't be living
Um,
out of my backpack. I like my luxuries.
oh, your luxuries.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna need a lot of sponsors for that, though, aren't you?
Oh no, because I'll just blog and make money off that. It'll be fine.
Ah, quick! Here we go then. Quick coaching on how to make how to make money from a travel blog. Go. No, I'm joking. Right. All right. I think that that puts us at a lovely spot to start wrapping up. So, tell everyone where they can find you, Keri.
Okay, so my website is probably the first port of call, which is thesoapcoach.co.uk. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook at the Soap Coach.
Fantastic. Cool. Well, thanks for being on the Rad-ventures podcast. It does sound like you've had a quite the Rad-venture over the years, all 35 of them nearly. Yeah, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you very much. No, it's been my pleasure.
You're always welcome, and I'll obviously be back with another guest next week. And so have a good week, and peace out. Thanks for joining us on Rad-ventures. Don't forget to subscribe via your favourite platform. Always happy to chat, so hit me up in the DMs, and I'll see you on the next Rad-venture. That go okay?
I think so.
You think so? Happy with it?
Yeah, I'll be fine. I think I started off a bit dodgy, but it'll be fine.
Everyone knows that you got to warm up as you go along.
Yeah. No, it's all right. I always think that I'm really nosy, and I like to hear about other people's behind the scenes stories and what we might not think's very interesting. Other people do, don't they?
That's the thing with this is what the whole podcast is about, really. It's
Yeah.
it's that behind the scenes on how Keri the soap coach got to being the soap coach, and to we all think our backstory's boring because we lived
Yeah.
it, and we
Yeah.
have to talk about, well, we don't talk about it every day, but we've been there, done that, got the t-shirt of it, as it were. But actually, when you talk to other people, and they're like, "Oh wow, so you did
Yeah.
that in that year," and you're like, oh, "Okay," and so Yes, no, quite an interesting story. I'm glad that Ro connected us. Right, I'm going to end the recording because I haven't so far. And then you just got to stick around for a couple of minutes while we do the upload, okay?
No problem at all.
Where's my mouse? Here we go.